What is up, YouTube? And today we're going to be talking about the new Covenant hero that was previewed here on the Stove website or the Epic 7 website. And it's going to actually be Immortal Wukong, who's coming to the game as a Covenant hero. So he's not going to be a Moon Knight hero actually. And you know, with most gacha games that have a server in China or the Chinese servers, usually Wukong gets released at some point in time in some shape or form, and it looks like we're getting him on the 20th of June as a new Covenant hero. And this is his design, looks pretty cool here, just kind of like mecha, right? Obviously he has that very famous staff. He is pretty much in every single game that I've played that is inspired in like Asia. And you can see he's like a mech. He is here with Politis, Landy, and Flan because they're all mechs, I guess, or mechs or robots. I forget what they call it in Epic 7, but basically this is his design. It looks pretty sick, one of the best design units in the game, I'd say. And it's no surprise that he is very well designed because they are appeasing the Chinese server, who, you know, is probably one of the biggest player bases for our game now. And you can see just from his description, he's effortlessly wielding Ruyi Jingle Bang. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but basically it's going to be a staff here, right? And it is to measure the depths of rivers and seas as a weapon against his foes. So rivers and seas, right? You think maybe he's ice unit, right? Nope, he's an earth unit. So he's a 5-star earth elemental Scorpio warrior. It says he has very high attack and health. We don't know his stats yet until the preview video. And you'll see that he will actually have attack for his imprint concentration. And his skills are actually also here. S1 is a single target attack that gives him a barrier for 1 turn. This barrier will scale with his attack, and when it is used on the caster turn, this will attack all enemies. So that's pretty crazy. AoE S1, right, for a warrior sounds pretty strong because, you know, as you can see, he has high attack anyways, and it looks like he can actually crit, so maybe this will hit pretty hard, and the barrier will be very nice for his survivability. Next we have his S2. It's a passive. It looks like he will get critical hit resistance and penetration resistance, which is very good, right? Penetration is just super annoying right now. It just makes it so that defense is pretty hard to use, and you know, even the tankiest units in the game sometimes feel not that tanky because of this. They have him with crit hit resistance and pen resistance. It's a pretty big, you know, passive here. It's gonna be pretty tanky. You're also gonna see when he suffers a non-critical hit, he will get increased attack and speed, and this stacks up to 3 times. And this is a 20% boost, and it's gonna be, you know, just permanent. And it looks like 20% speed going up to 60% is pretty insane. 60% speed bonus. If you have him at like 200 speed, he's going to be effectively at 300 speed if this stacks up. And he kind of just snowballs, right? If he gets not crit multiple times with this critical hit resistance buff, he gets, you know, like, let's say 300 speed total because he's at 200 speed. Honestly, it'll be like, what, 300, like 30-ish, 40-ish? My math is kind of off, but you know what I mean. It'll be like 300 plus speed. And then he's just going to be AoE attacking over and over. And also will actually be getting this huge barrier that scales with his attack. And just keep in mind, his attack is also going up, right, by 20%. It's not just his speed, it's his attack as well. So, you know, as he gets hit and he doesn't get crit, what will end up happening is he's just getting stronger and stronger, faster and faster, tankier and tankier with his barrier, which makes him pretty strong, right? Then we have his S3. It's a single target attack. It will give him attack buff for 2 turns, and then it will be a single target attack that also stuns. And when your attack is greater than the target's attack, you'll actually do extra damage up to a maximum of 70%. And this is unaffected by elemental disadvantage, so you can actually use this to hit fire units as well. So yeah, it looks like a pretty strong unit. The stun seems pretty cool. I think this will be mostly used to execute, you know, like tankier units. But this ramping attack and speed seems pretty crazy. I'm pretty sure this is like a buff that will last the entire battle, right? Like, I don't know if this will be just until the start of his next turn because it doesn't say so. I don't assume so. But if this is a entire battle passive, this will make him super strong. I think, you know, people are not really realizing how strong this actually is because this snowballs extremely hard with his kit. Like, if we just completely ignore his S3, like I mentioned, right? Increased attack will be more tankiness with this barrier, and increased speed will also be more tankiness because you are going to be cycling faster to get this barrier. And he's already really tanky with this critical hit resistance and penetration resistance, and obviously the increased attack as well will just make him do more damage and be very threatening. And also it'll make it so that his S3 will actually be able to be you know, used up to that, you know, 70% damage increase against even squishier units that have high attack because your attack is just way higher. So Kind of feels like a Hwayoung 2.0, if I'm not gonna lie. The barrier every turn feels like Hwayoung. The fact that he is very tanky with this critical resistance and penetration resistance feels like Hwayoung. Just a lot of single target damage, very high attack, and yeah, he can execute, you know, very tanky units with this S3. So not too sure what you guys think about this kid. I think it looks pretty insane. Obviously the multipliers aren't out yet, so he might just not be that great. It really comes down to his multipliers on his skills. If his multipliers are very bad, and attack doesn't really scale that great with him, then he's just, you know, not gonna be that great, because it really looks like he needs very high multipliers to do well. But if it is very high, or at least like normal, I'd say, it looks like he'd be a very powerful unit. And he's going to be available on the 20th after the update. And just looking at what people are saying he'll be the god in the next Rift season. Maybe. Yeah, Janua bait, sure. Yeah, just there's a lot of a lot of funny comments here. Let's fix power creep, proceeds to power creep. Yeah, it looks pretty insane. No soul burn. Yeah, there's no soul burn listed, so not really sure what it is. But yeah. Janua, yeah, he's going to be a good Janua counter because of the penetration resistance here. So, yeah, I think people aren't really realizing how strong he is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he won't be that great. But looking at his kit, just at face value, looks pretty crazy. And he'll be available from the 20th of June. So there'll be another update next week. This week's banner will actually be Celine, which we'll talk about in a separate video. And spoilers, Celine right now is probably one of the best units for PvP in the game because she counters a ton of meta units like ML Politis, Concilius, anything with non-attack skills, you know, Ikarina, Laya, and her artifact is also very good on Thieves, especially herself, and even units such as like Spirit Eye Celine, or even Tempest Cern if you like to use them. But yeah, I'm very excited for Immortal Wukong. Like I said, his design looks amazing, just holding that staff. And, you know, I wonder if they'll release a side story with Landy, Politis, and Flan. I assume they will because of the fact that he's such a big unit every time it's released, and they did make artwork already, so I do assume that he'll be featured probably in a side story with them. I don't know if it'll be like the side story with like Withe, Ultramizuka, and Overlord, because we've had so many recently, but most likely it'll be a side story where they'll get bonus effects, and obviously we'll probably have Landy and Flan and Politis also run, because when they have side stories featuring units, they always run those units. So if you're missing Green Landy, a very good way to get her. If you already have her, but you want, you know, imprints for your Navy Captain Landy, very good unit for imprints, because Navy Captain Landy's imprints not only makes them do more damage because it's attack percent, but it gives her more tankiness because higher attack will heal you more on your salvos, so very good there. But yeah, very excited for this design. Let me know in the comments down below what you are actually thinking about this unit. Like I mentioned, I personally think he's going to be super strong. Now, I could be wrong, but just looking at his skill set, you know, I really don't think that he can be weak. Because first of all, he'll just be a very good Janua counter, because Gilder's offense, he's an Earth unit, right? So you just bring him as the only Earth unit. Janua will attack him, and he just won't die, and he'll just get, you know, faster and faster. And then the very big part about this is he can stun Janua with his S3. And most likely, I don't know what his soul burn will be, but maybe it'll be like S3 ignore effect resistance, so you can actually 100% all the time stun Janua in Gilder's offense and completely destroy him. And because it's unaffected by elemental disadvantage, you can't miss. And then after that, you just, you know, proc his passive, proc his rage effect or whatever, and his immortality, and then you just kill him, right? So I guess you don't proc the rage because you can't do that when he's stunned, but you get what I mean. Very good Janua bait, but I think in PvP in general, he might be very strong. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this unit, and I'll see you guys in the next video.